Welcome everyone. We are extremely thrilled about the new launch of Google Cloud WAN. This is a fully managed SLA-backed, reliable backbone that we are extending to the enterprise. Enterprises can now use Google Cloud WAN to connect their branches as well as high-performance connectivity on a converged infrastructure that is managed and fully supported by our SRE organization. SRE obviously was something that Google invented, and today we have Ben Treynor Sloss, Vice President of 24/7 at Google, and Mahesh Chellappa, who is our Senior Director for SRE, joining in to discuss about what SRE functions are, what our customers who are consuming Google Cloud WAN can expect from the SRE function. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Ben, I want to start with you first. The term SRE was almost coined by you.
Was.
And you're almost like the inventor of SRE. So a lot of our customers, when we talk to them, they always talk about, one, why did Google invent site reliability engineering? What was the problem that they were trying to solve? And how has it helped us till date over the last many decades?
Sure. Well, so I have to bring us back about 22 years at this point, right? Google was a young company, and we had what has now been termed a private cloud, but at that point wasn't named. And we had the problem that we were running a very reliable infrastructure and service, Google Search, on top of fundamentally consumer-level hardware, right? And so we were growing very, very quickly, but we were growing on a base of hardware that failed semi-regularly, right? In a period of time when all other services that were, similar SLO were built on top of hardware that was more reliable and much, much more expensive, right? And this idea of you can make a higher performance, lower cost solution out of fundamentally less reliable hardware by using software to knit the pieces together and do error management was relatively new. And so if you looked at the problems that the team was facing at the time, they had lots and lots of failures. And the team was fixing these problems with a combination of hand actions, which was the normal way, and beginning to write scripts and early systems to fix the common problems automatically. And so when I joined Google to run this team, one of the first observations was, well, you do the normal manager thing and you draw out what the next few years are going to be like. And Google's growth rate at that point was, over 100% a year, right? And you sort of realize this group will be utterly swamped by failure management if they are doing things by hand. Therefore, the only practical way to solve this problem was to have the team writing tools and eventually systems to do error detection and error management and error mitigation rather than doing it by hand. And so that immediately said you have to hire software engineers to manage this problem that historically has been an operations problem. And once you start doing that, you realize that in addition to getting scalability, you also get speed because these systems they never get tired, right? They never get bored. And they can detect problems more quickly than a human. And if the problem is within their remit, they can also fix the problem more quickly than a human. So you actually get more reliability out of this system because the errors and the downtime are shorter, in addition to getting scalability.
So that's actually very, very powerful. Mahesh, I want to point to you on the principles that Ben talked about. As we launch Google Cloud WAN, what can customers expect in terms of reliability and the same level of software-defined failure detection, mitigation being extended to the enterprise customers?
Thank you, Munidhar. Cloud WAN is a perfect example of how our SRE principles are embedded in the product to benefit our enterprise customers. Many enterprise customers grapple with the overhead of managing their networks with multiple disparate WANs, varying security stacks, as well as the overall operational cost of managing it. Cloud WAN, as a managed Google Global WAN product that we are offering, embeds all of the SRE principles that Ben talked about in the product itself. Google would take the operational burden of managing the network and ensuring its reliability, security, and performance through all the same underlying monitoring and incident management systems and all of the tools that we have, the internal tools, we are going to apply it on the Cloud WAN product as well.
So when we talk about automation in SRE, how can our Google Cloud WAN customers leverage the automation that you're doing to actually deliver a more reliable and better efficient network product?
Well, one of my favorite sayings in infrastructure is boring is beautiful, right? So all of the automation that we've built and all of the practices that we've built are intended to make the infrastructure boring for our customers. It just works, right? You attach to the network at all of your different endpoints, and you get the same level of service and throughput that you contracted for, no matter where you're sending traffic around. So it should be invisible to them. Ultimately, the customers don't have to lift a finger to take advantage of this automation. Things just work.
Things just work. So I think I'll come to you, Mahesh, on this. We've been doing this on the SRE. Automation is very, very key to the scale at which Google is. What can our customers expect in terms of reliability, SLAs or SLOs, as they come into Google Cloud WAN?
Google manages the Cloud WAN infrastructure. So what this means is the service that we provide inherently uses a very stable and reliable foundation for our enterprise customers to build their applications or services and for their connectivity needs. Google WAN is built basically from the same Google private global network that we have, and which inherently provides the low latency, high availability, and global reach for our customers. The enterprise customers can leverage this, and they can build their own applications and services on top of this underlying reliable network that we have, and use that to meet their service level objectives. And the integrated monitoring and visibility tools that we have is also going to be part of the Google Cloud WAN solution, and that can help our customers track their performance and of their network connections.
We are in the midst of what people like to call the AI era. From your perspective, what do you see in this AI era? How does our network going to evolve? And second, how are you going to use AI to run the network more efficiently, or the operations more efficiently, or the SRE functions, the software functions that you talked about more efficiently? And what can our customers see as value, not just for cloud, but also for Google Cloud WAN?
A good way to think about AI for our purposes is that it's an incredibly powerful and subtle correlation engine and prediction engine, right? Everyone's familiar with chatbots, right? And chatbots say, given this context of the conversation that has occurred, and given all of the training that it's done over data, here's what the next word is likely to be. And so I put that word in, and then I repeat the process, right? Well, what is this? This is correlation and prediction. Okay, what is detection, right, in fault management? Detection is correlation of a set of signals and discovering that they're outside of a bound, right? The difference between 0.1 milliseconds of latency and 150 milliseconds of latency is not that there is latency, it's that there is a much higher value and it's out of bounds. But maybe this latency is occurring across 30 different systems. Correlating all of those different behaviors is something that AI systems are literally designed to do. And they can do it, again, very, very quickly, and they never get tired or bored, right? But also then prediction. If I see these signals, what's the next thing that's likely to occur? That is diagnosis, right? I see these signals, I expect some failure or some behavior, and if I have detection and I have diagnosis, now I can have mitigation, right? I correlate this set of predictions with this step that I could take, right? And so this takes us into the world of what's being called now agentic AI, but essentially you can have not only detection and diagnosis, but also mitigation without having to hand code each different instance that you would want to deal with. You can have agents that will detect and mitigate whole classes of problems. And you can train them, of course, on the decades of telemetry that we have about how networks and switch networks and systems generally behave, and what mitigations work, what mitigations don't, what the probability of a failure that you observe here is to be solved by a mitigation step. This is all perfect territory for making outages smaller and shorter.
We hear a lot when you and your team talk about automation to autonomous. I think the word automation is well understood by enterprises. What does autonomous really mean? And what are we doing that is so unique in our network that's going to add value to anyone who's going to be using Cloud WAN?
Well, I think they are maybe degrees of the same thing, right? Automation implies a set of software that was written to solve a specific set of problems, and autonomous is a set of software that is capable of solving more general or less well-defined or predefined problems. And so for sure, as you think about what AI does, right, it is a system that is designed to respond to novel, right, requests and novel prompts and therefore novel situations. And what we're finding already is that when we apply the machine learning and AI agent approach to solving problems that we have inside our network, sometimes we get novel solutions, right? And I think of that as being the early stage of autonomous network management, right? Now, obviously, you have to have control, right? We have, at the end of the day, a set of customers who depend on our network and a set of SLOs and SLAs that we will deliver. But by having automation that now moves into the territory of being autonomous, we are able to cover more and unique and novel failure modes and problems with a much higher probability of solving them quickly versus needing to fall back to human help to diagnose and solve a tricky problem. And that is extremely exciting because it essentially means that we can offer a better product to our customers without increasing cost.
Wow. I'm glad you talked about cost because I'm sure our viewers are now wondering, you're upgrading your network, you made SRE become an agentic AI SRE function. The global network is evolving to provide much more scale, better resiliency, moving to an autonomous function. Is it going to cost me more to get all these functions? So I'm going to ask Mahesh, you, like, from a cost perspective, as our enterprise customers start to use Google Cloud WAN, how should they be thinking about cost?
The Cloud WAN significantly can potentially reduce their cost, right? And the total cost of ownership that they have. By actually consolidating multiple disparate WANs into a single global managed service that Google provides, they can reduce their total cost of operations that they were doing today. All of the good practices and the SRE principles that Ben talked about, and all of the autonomous systems and all the other tools and monitoring things that we have already built also improves the operational efficiency for our customers, and that actually translates to cost savings for them by using Cloud WAN.
Wow. So with that, I just want to summarize a couple of things. I think for customers who are actually looking to do Google Cloud WAN, a couple of things. You're getting 2 decades of SRE function that Google infrastructure was running on, automatically extended to your needs. The reliability services that Ben and Mahesh are providing as part of SRE, not just for Google, but also for our cloud customers, automatically gets extended to the enterprise. If you are probably investing a lot in NOC tools, especially from a detection perspective, as Ben pointed out, detection is good, but more important, how do you actually diagnose and then mitigate? And a software function that can actually fully automate this is much more powerful than having tools to just detect and see where the failures are. And probably can't even detect and mitigate within seconds. And this automatically gets extended to our Google Cloud WAN customers as well. Mahesh talked about the cost saving of converging infrastructure, because bespoke architectures, you're paying more, not just from a CapEx, OpEx perspective, but also the personnel that's involved to manage all of this infrastructure. With Google Cloud WAN, you don't have to pay these additional costs that you see. And more importantly, this is set up for the future. The future, if everyone thinks, is going to be AI. Ben talked about it's already here today with the SRE teams. It's agentic AI SRE, as well as the backbone that we're building is already ready for the AI era, from scale, reliability, and from autonomous operations. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mahesh, for joining us. This was I got to learn a lot. I'm sure our viewers here will also entertain and always find this really pleasing. As they look at Google Cloud WAN, they know for a fact there's a 24/7 operation at Google that is backing the SLA services that we're going to provide. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.